Hello and welcome to episode 50 of Novel Knits. My name is Dehnel and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about what I'm knitting and what I'm reading. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm always so thankful that you choose to spend any of your time with me. It is a gorgeous day and this should be a slightly shorter episode. I've been gone a lot over the past 3 weeks traveling, and I just didn't have as much crafting time as I thought I would. So the knitting content will be a little bit lower. I have read about 8 different versions of the same type of book. So book club will also probably be pretty short today. And yeah, let's get into it. The first thing that I have is we are finished with the Cozy Winter Reads and Make Along. Thank you to everybody who participated. I really love seeing what you guys made and what you read. I got so many great recommendations. A lot of you made things that I've made in the past, like the Hermione's Everyday Socks. It's definitely a great pattern. I've made that twice. Stack of books, library theme. So this make along was knitting something book themed, either book themed yarn or a book themed pattern, and then reading a book of your choice. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I think I'm gonna plan to do it next year. There were just a couple new book themed patterns that came out into the knitting universe in the past month. So I was like, I think this is going to be a fun thing to keep doing. And maybe next year we can agree on like 3 books and actually stick to that. I started with that and then I try to keep things very casual. So I don't want to force anyone into reading something they don't want to in order to participate and make along, but it's an idea for next year. Okay, so I have 2 winners. I haven't pulled your name yet, but I will pull it after I'm done recording and I will put it on the screen. So the first prize is this amazing set. It did not come together, but it should have because it works so well. So this is a 50-gram skein of nomadic yarns in her trusty sock base. It's 231 yards, 50 grams, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and the color is Bennet Sisters from Pride and Prejudice. And I'm pairing this with an amazing bag from Barley and Pearls that's just kind of vintagey. It just feels very Jane Austen, this whole thing, and it seemed like a great prize for this make along. So the winner of this prize, your name will pop up on the screen now. Congratulations, and thank you so much for knitting along or crocheting along with me. I will tell you at the end how to contact me. Sorry, I think I just made the table shake. All right, the second prize is this skein of yarn from Bumblebee Acres Farms. It's a really amazing autumnal yarn. It is in their Coquette sock base. It is 75% superwash Corriedale wool, 25% nylon fingering weight, 434 gram. Yards, not grams. And then I paired that with this amazing bag from Barley Pearls as well. They are both like sock size bags. So the winner of this prize, your name will be on the screen now. Congratulations. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. And just send me a message either on Instagram or Ravelry, Novel Knit Girl in both places. Or you can email me at novelknitgirl@gmail.com and just send me your address and I will get these out in the mail to you this week. And it is also the first quarter prize draw for my year-long make-along called Shop Your Stash 2024. And in order to participate in this, all you have to do is make any project, knit or crochet, with yarn you had in your stash prior to January 1st of this year. And I'm gonna give away 2 pattern prizes. You can choose a pattern out of Ravelry or Etsy, any place that I can gift you a pattern from, and I will be happy to do that. So the winners for the first quarter are going to be on the screen now. Yay, thank you so much, and congratulations on getting that yarn out of your stash. You guys, it has been so awesome to see what you have been making out of your stash. I love having this channel and this group on Ravelry just so that I can see what we are all working on. So it is so much fun for me, and thank you all for also participating. I really love all of it. Sorry, I got a text from my husband and I got a little distracted as I was thanking you, but honestly, thank you. Really quickly, I am wearing today my Miserina. This is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. I made this last year using stash yarn. The gray, it's like a green gray from Plucky Knitter, and I believe it was Town and Country. And then the pink is Last Christmas by Stress Knits. And I don't wear this sweater very often. It's a little small. Story of my life from everything I made last year. It's a little small, but I didn't have enough yarn to make a larger size. So it is what it is. And I do like it. I think I'll get some wear out of it. I recently purchased a pair of overalls from Old Navy that I'm gonna try wearing some of these kind of tighter sweaters underneath and see if that helps me get a little bit more wear. We'll see. Otherwise, I'm not sure. There's a chance I might lose some weight, but probably not. But this was a really lovely sweater to make. I really enjoyed making it. I love the colors that I chose, and I'm really happy. Also, since I'm wearing short sleeves, I did get a couple new tattoos if you're interested. I'll show you this one. I got a knitting tattoo right here. So I sent an idea to my artist, and then I kind of let her make it hers. So that's a nice little fun new tattoo. So now I've got a lot of tattoos on that arm. And then I decided to get a second tattoo on my other arm, which I don't have any other tattoos on this arm. And I kind of regret that. Not that I got the tattoo, but I wish I would have just kept it all on one arm instead of going into both arms, but I did. So this one is, it's a figure skate blade, and but it reads very floral. So I just wanted something to represent. I was a figure skater for many, many years of my life, and then I coached figure skating, and I'm still a big figure skating fan, and I just wanted a little bit of that on my body as well in artwork form. So I did get a couple new tattoos, and yeah, now that I'm wearing short sleeves, they're out. All right, I have one finished object today. I finished my Smoke Gets in Your Eyes socks. This is a pattern by Nancy Wheeler of Knit Sip Happy. I made these for my make-along, so it was book themed yarn. The yarn is Slow Burn by Nomadic Yarns. I absolutely love these socks. These might be my favorite socks that I've ever made. I love the colors. I love the pattern. They match perfect. So I started these on January 6th and I finished them on April 4th. They are 64 stitches, magic loop. I did a fish lips kiss heel, and the coordinating yarn is just a one-of-a-kind red from the Creative Knitter. And I just think they turned out so great. These were gonna be for Claire, but Claire has told me recently, my daughter, she's 15 turning 16, that she does not like my hand knit socks. That's fine. So they are now for me, and I'm really excited about that. I just love everything about them. If you've been here for a while, you know I love Nancy's sock designs. They're very rhythmic, very memorizable, and you'll see another one today. And I just enjoyed making these so much. And I think I may have mentioned this before, but I think the reason that Nomadic Yarns is my favorite self-striping yarn dyer is because her stripes are thinner. I don't love thicker stripes. I get a little bored, and with these, you're just constantly changing, and the colors are so beautiful and they work so well together that it's just a joy to knit. So I really enjoyed these, and I'm happy to have them off my needles. And yeah, I really, you'll see at the end, I have a lot of new socks that I want to cast on very soon. I'm feeling the itch to cast on more socks, but I'm trying to be good and finish at least 1 or 2 more pairs before I go crazy with the casting on. Okay, let's get into my works in progress. Probably so I went on 2 road trips recently. We went to the Ozarks for spring break, Lake of the Ozarks. We stayed in an Airbnb right on the lake, and it was in the 60s, and it was pleasant. We did hiking, and we went to and visited a cave, and there was a heated pool, so the kids swam. There was a hot tub. We stayed in this really great Airbnb with 3 levels and a game room. We had a ton of fun, and I thought there would be a lot more downtime than there was, but we had, let me count really quick, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We had 9 kids between 19 years old to 1. And we had 3 little kids and then obviously older kids, but having a baby around, I haven't had one in a while, so it was just, it was so much fun having a baby around, but you know, you don't get a lot of downtime when a baby's around either. So I didn't have as much downtime as I expected, but it was all great. But it was a long drive. It was about 7 hours in the car there and back. So what got the most love on that trip was my Bennet Sister Shawl by Lindsey Fowler. And right before I left, I thought I made a mistake and I ripped it back. And then I reread the directions and I had not made a mistake. So I ripped it back for absolutely no reason. So probably from, let's see, I've probably re-knit like this much. So I got that done in the car. So it starts here and then it goes up. And then you add in mohair for the second half. And I will say I am loving this now that I've added in the mohair. So the yarn that I'm using is, this is a fingering weight yarn from Sassy Strings, and it's the colorway Goddess. And then the mohair that I'm using is from Le Garçon. It was part of his dark materials club that they did a few years ago, and it is called the Golden Monkey, which I kind of feel like I'm running low on. I hope I have enough. I will be really sad if I do not. So these are the 2 colors. It's kind of blowing out. And I love how I wasn't sure if I was gonna love the change, but I actually really do. And then I think you can see the change in the stitch texture as well. So there's a garter and a stockinette texture. But it is really, I'm really energized to finish this again. There are a couple mistakes. I think I unraveled to about here, and I picked up I think I picked up the stitches wrong right there. So there's a little mistake there. And then of course I missed slipping my stitches right here. There's a purl where it should be a slip stitch. I don't think anybody other than me is ever gonna know that's there, but it does bother me. It bothers me a lot. I wish it didn't, but it totally drives me nuts that there's mistakes in an otherwise gorgeous edging, and mistakes I wouldn't have had if I hadn't ripped it out for no good reason. So hopefully this will be done soon. I also had cast this on for my make along in January. So hopefully I will cast this off in the next couple weeks. I would like to finish it, but I also want to cast on like 20 things, as you will see. Okay, next let's get into the elephant in the room, the Douglas Cardi by Andrea Mowry. I am making size 3. I'm using the called for yarn, which is Too Cool Wool, and I started this on January 2nd, 2024, and it should be done, but it is not. So the last time I saw you, I had finished the body and 1 sleeve, and it has this comically tight cuff that I am going to redo. And I started the 2nd sleeve, and I decided that I'm really focusing on finishing the button band before I finish the sleeve, because I want to get the button band on the cardigan, and that's just what I want to do. So the button band is coming along. The last time I showed it to you, I was here. So I have added this much to the button band, which takes me about to here. So it's getting there, it's getting there. I could finish this in a night, but I do not like knitting on this project at all. And it makes me so sad because I started out loving this, and I have just fallen so out of love with this project. I don't like the yarn. The colors are amazing, but I do not like working with this yarn at all, and I would never use it again. And this construction is pretty finicky and not my favorite. Now, I'm still holding out hope that I'm gonna love this. So here is the cardigan. Here, you know what I'm gonna do? We'll try this. This could backfire, but we're gonna try it. So I'm gonna put it on. So here's where we're at. And then this is gonna go here. So it'll fit like this. So I am holding on hope that when it comes together, it will be magical and I will love it. That's really what I'm hoping for. But the process of making this, I dislike it so much, and I would really love to just stop. I'm torn between just wanting to give up on it and finish it. But I'm gonna finish it because I will never use this yarn for anything else. It is a little bit rustic, but it's not scratchy. It's very unique. But what I don't like about it is there's no forgiveness in your stitches, and I'm not sure why. So for instance, this part I blocked and this sleeve isn't. And you can see maybe there's a little bit of difference, but it didn't really change the texture or the drape, or I don't know what I was expecting, but I just haven't loved it. I really would like this to be finished by the next time we meet. So this is kind of becoming a high priority project for me just because I would like to be done. So once I finish the collar or the button band, I will sew that on. I will finish the second sleeve. I will fix this cuff because it's like a teeny itty bitty cuff. And then I will do the afterthought pockets. Well, let's see if we can, there it is. And then it will be finished. So I'm very much looking forward to finishing it because I just don't enjoy working on it at all right now. Okay, what do I have? Oh, I've got yarn all over the place. Okay. All right, and then I did pull out a pair of socks from Hibernation that I have about 3 socks right now that are already on the needles that I'm kind of calling my priority socks that have been on the needles for long enough that I would like to get them finished and move on with my sock knitting life. It's not that I don't love them, because I do. I just always want to cast on new socks. So I pulled out the Freddy Beach Socks by Nancy Wheeler. I started these last February, and so they're over a year old, and they're 64 stitches magic loop. The yarn I'm using, I think the copper is called Copper Cloud by Leading Men Fiber Arts, and I know that the blue is called Parasol by Midnight Cravings. I love these so much. I feel like I've been hitting it out of the park lately with pattern and yarn combinations, and this is another one. This yarn is getting a little fuzzy. I don't know if you can tell from sitting in my project bag for a year. So I don't think this was the greatest sock yarn to choose to knit with, but I'm really loving these. I love the pattern. It looks a little complex, but it's so simple and so fast. These are great. So yeah, I finished that one on the way to our son Milo, who's 13. He had his first baseball tournament right after we got back from spring break. We went to school and work for a week and got in the car on Friday evening and drove to Indiana. And I finished that sock on the way, and I've been able to start the second sock. So I am right at the point on the second sock where I will be adding the second Fish Lips Kiss Heel. I have no idea why I did Fish Lips Kiss Heels on these. I think last year that's just what I was doing a lot of. And this year I feel like I'm choosing to do the heel flap and gusset more. But I'm just about to do the heel, and then I just have the foot, and I can have another pair of socks done. These will also probably be for me. I have to start being a little bit more thoughtful with the socks that I cast on in the next couple months. I have a few friends that have smaller feet that I can make socks for that are 64 stitches, but in my family, I am 5'7" and have a size 8.5 women's US shoe size. If I'm going to make socks for my mother, my sister, my in-laws, my mother and sisters-in-laws, I really have to go up to 72 stitches because they all have larger feet than me. I come from large feet stock, apparently. So I'm gonna have to, I think, start making a couple more socks at 72 stitches so that I can use them as gifts, because I do like to give people who like socks, I like to give them sock gifts. So I will be a little bit more thoughtful with the socks I'm choosing for the future. But these are great. I'm so happy to have picked these up again. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting another pair of sock needles cleared off. So I brought some yarn to show you what I'm planning to cast on soon. So I'm really, really excited to cast on new socks. Okay, and then I have just a couple more whips that didn't get nearly as much love as I thought they would. So I did bring my big rib by Jessie Maed Designs on the trip with me, and I barely knit on it, but I did put a few inches, so I thought I would just show you. This is, I'm making, see, I didn't write notes on this one. I think I'm making a size 3 or 4, and I'm using Knit Picks Wonder Fluff yarn in Beehive Heather. I will say, this yarn, I think I have my gauge swatch in here, hang on. Yeah, the yarn feels very fuzzy and kind of messy when you're working with it, but it blacks out much nicer where the fuzz kind of gets itself under control. So I'm really hoping that I like this fabric when it blacks out, because when you're working with it, it almost feels like, I don't even know what's happening. It almost feels cheap. But I think when it blocks out, it'll be nice. And a lot of people have used this yarn for sweaters, so I think it's gonna be okay. We'll see, yeah. I had to go up a needle size, so I'm using a 10.5 size needle because I didn't want to go up to an 11 because I thought that would just make it a little too see-through. This is going to be kind of see-through as it is, so I'm going to have to figure out what I'll wear underneath it. But yeah, this is just, now I'm at a point where it's just 4x4 ribbing down the body, and then yeah, I'll do the sleeves and the collar. This should go fast once I turn my attention to it. I have not worked on either of my other 2 sweaters over the past couple weeks just because of all the traveling we've been doing. I've been picking things that are a little less, need a little less brain power. Okay, sorry about that. It's a beautiful day. The front door is open and Penelope is clearly seeing some people that she would like to bark at. So sorry, hopefully she will. Are you done? Okay. All right, I have one more quick work in progress and then some future knitting, and then we will get into book club. So I've barely done anything on this, but I wanted to bring it out and show because I was so excited to work on it. I have a lot of blankets in progress, and this year my goal is to finish at least one more blanket and just work on them. So this is my Northeasterly. It is a design by Skeinanigans, and I added basically this green today, and I started on the Dove Heather. So what I'm doing is I have minis from Row 1 Minis. I got two months subscriptions, so like they come like this already wound, which is beautiful. I believe the Row 1 Minis that I have are from, they're both Lichen and Lace, and then the other one is Traveling Yarn. So I'm using just kind of, and then I put Knit Picks Stroll Fingering and Dove Heather in between. And this was something I saw Amanda from Birch and Lily do, and I really liked how that looked. So I copied that completely. In fact, I undid what I had knitted and restarted it because I liked the look so much. So here's what I have so far. And all these colors are just so pretty. I enjoy them all so much. For my striping, I am doing 40 rounds or 20 garter bumps in each color, and then I'm switching. So yeah, I am planning on doing one more gray section and then one more colored section, and then I'm going to start the next row. So the next row you build on and you connect it as you go up, and I'm going to then flip so that the colored sections will be next to the gray and the gray will be next to the colored, and I think it's going to be awesome. So I'm hoping to at least do 2 more sections this weekend, and then we'll see. I'm trying to rotate between all of my blankets. I'm kind of wishing that I'd made a few of them DK weight just because I think they would go a little bit faster, but I think this will be a great blanket when it's done. It's just a longer term project for me. I love working on all of my projects. It's just there's not enough time in the day for working on them all. And the other thing that's kind of funny is I never, ever, ever work with straight needles. So whenever I get to the end of my row, I just drop it because I'm used to I'm used to circular needles where you just drop your needle and, you know, flip your yarn. And so I drop this needle all the time and then I have to look for it. And I'm trying to get better at like, just hold on to that needle. It's just kind of stupid. I just don't know why I can't like remember to not drop that needle. But it's such a part of my knitting rhythm from Magic Loop, I think, and circular knitting needles that it's just a habit. So that's that. And those are my works in progress that I've been working on. I've obviously picked up and knit a few stitches here and there on a couple other projects, but not enough to share with you today. And I am lying. I have one more work in progress. I forgot that I casted these on. They don't have a bag or anything, and they were just hanging out here. So I'm using the Crazy Sock Ladies DK sock pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry if you're interested. And I started just a pair of vanilla DK socks. So the yarn that I'm using is leftovers from a sweater I made a few years ago, the Cozy Classic Raglan by Jessie Maed Designs. It came out a little small because I didn't understand gauge at the time and I went down a needle size when I should have gone up a needle size. It's all fine. Also, I did not alternate skeins, so there is a stripe in the middle. Again, I'm hoping that overalls will help me wear that sweater because it's otherwise very beautiful and very, very soft. So I would love to wear it, but it just has a couple things going against it. Anyway, the yarn is from Lavender Loon Yarn, and this is her Shadow Singer colorway. I got this directly from Samantha on a huge discount. So I got 4 skeins for $40 because it's a sparkle base. And she said she killed the sparkle, which there's a little sparkle, but it's very, very, very hard to see. It does not read overly sparkly, but I just love this. It's gray with these pops of color. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place here. It's one of my favorite types of yarn, which is like gray with hints of color coming through. And I'm not very far at all. I did the ribbing and I just started the stockinette. So these will be fun to work on. I need a stockinette, and I'm sorry, I'm really shaking the camera today. I will work on that. I really need a stockinette sock for baseball games because as much as I like pattern socks are my favorite, I can't follow a pattern. If you've been here before, I get very into Milo's 13U this year for baseball, and I'm that mom. I wish I wasn't, but I'm screaming, yelling, hollering. So I need something to keep me calm. I try really hard. I also sometimes have to get up and pace, but when I sit, I need to knit, and I need to not have something complex. I just need to be able to knit while I'm watching him play. Okay, so now that is it with the works in progress. So I have alluded to a few times that I want to cast on all the socks, and it's true. So I've picked out, I went down to my yarn cabinet in the basement that has all my hand-dyed yarn. I sounded kind of Southern there for some reason. And I kind of felt like I was opening up Andy's toy box in Toy Story, and all the toys were like, oh my God, he's here, he touched me. Like, I felt really sorry for my yarn that I hadn't been down there in a while to pick out anything new. So I might've gotten a little generous and picked a lot. So I'm gonna make, with the new season of Bridgerton coming out, and I am looking forward to watching it, I thought I would make a pair of Lady Whistledown socks. I don't recall the pattern designer's name, but I will link it below in case you're interested. It just has a little bit of lace on the top and then mainly stockinette the rest of the way down, if I'm remembering it correctly. And I thought this would be a gorgeous yarn to use. Sorry, my lighting is terrible today. I'm using natural light instead of the ring light, and maybe that was a bad idea, but this is from Knox Yarn Co. And yeah. And the color is Sweet Solstice 2018. And I've had this in my stash for a long time, and it's time. And I thought Lady Whistledown, this is a nice delicate color, and that would work really well. And then I have a couple other socks. I think I chose a pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady, maybe Morning Coffee. I don't know if that's right, but I just chose one of her simple textured socks, and I pulled out this skein of yarn. It looks really fun for spring, and this is a yarn to die for designs, and the color is Bertie Bott's Delicious Beans. And so this is going to be a pair of socks. I just feel like this is the season for these bright colors, as you'll see. I also chose, I'm gonna make another, once I finish these DK weight socks, I'm gonna cast on another pair, maybe a patterned pair. I think I have the gravel sock design by Twin Stitches Design, Gravel Path maybe. And there's a DK weight version. And so I thought this would be really fun. So this is from Tia's Terrific Threads, and this is called, Pale Beneath the Tan, sorry. And just highlighter yellow. I don't ever knit with highlighter yellow, so this feels way out of my comfort zone, but I'm really feeling it right now. And all of these are stash yarn. And then I also, you guys, just because I have enough sock needles to do this, I also picked out this skein from Cat Sandwich Fibers that I've had. I found this as a treasure on eBay a few years ago, and I'm really excited. So this is her Aurora Borealis color. I shouldn't say her because I actually don't know who the dyer is, but I just love all these blues and speckles, and I don't know, I really love this. This is gonna be hard to give away. I love this yarn. This is gonna be, okay, so they're all gonna be for me, but I will start something for somebody else soon, I promise. I mean, if I make enough pairs of socks, I will wear them for the rest of my life, right? Okay, and then I am really slacking on my sweater knitting. The Douglas Cardi is definitely part of the problem. So once I have that finished, I'm definitely waiting until that's finished before I cast on anything else, but I'm going to be casting on a Surrey shirt by Kadri. And I'm going to be using this Sonder Yarn Muse. It's 90% merino, 10% linen. And the color is moss. And I'm gonna be making it out of this. I had bought this last year to make a saltier tea. And like I've said, my tastes are just changing right now. I'm not saying I'm never gonna make the saltier tea because I really, really like it. I'm just craving some basics right now in my knitting wardrobe. So that's why I'm gonna do this. Plus I think this color will kind of be a statement without having a lace yoke. And then finally, because I have been being influenced by the grocery girls for the last, I don't know, since I found them. And actually, I can't blame this on Jody, but Jody was what made me pull the trigger. The Port Sweater by Ozetta is going to be jumping on my needles. I think I mentioned last time that I bought 2 commercial sweaters this year, one from The Gap and one from, I think, American Eagle. The American Eagle one was crap and it was black, and that's why I'm going to be turning that black yarn into a Felix, and then I'll just throw that other one out because it's terrible quality. But the other one I got was from The Gap, and it has a little higher neck. It's forest green, and it fits the way I want my sweaters to fit. It's very classic looking. It reminded me of The Port by Ozetta. And so, yeah, we've talked about how I'm not doing great on not buying yarn this year. And I wanted exactly that product. I'm not normally this way, but I was like, I want that sweater and that yarn. I want it to be just like that. So I did buy the called for yarn for the Port sweater. And this is Moda yarn by Wool Dreamers. And then I'm going to be holding it with Bichembouche, Les Petites Silk Mohair. I hope I didn't kill it. So it's a gray beige, and this is just going to be a lovely staple. If you haven't seen the Port, it's got a higher neck, And then it's got this great detailing on the shoulders, but it's just, again, it's got the ease I want, the fit that I want, that I'm looking for right now, and more of a classic look. So I'm really excited. I will be casting that on shortly as well. And then because it's my knitting life, I will probably cast on more things just because at the core of my being, that is what makes me most happy, casting on new knitting projects. So all right, let's move on to book club. So if you're like, that's enough for me, I'm out of here, all I want is the yarn talk, thank you so much. I'm really glad that you spent some time with me today. Please let me know what you're working on. All right, on to the book club, you guys. I checked on Goodreads and I had been trailing my goal. So this year for Goodreads, I have a goal of reading 100 books. And I was trailing by 4 or 5 books. And I thought, all right, that's not on my watch. We're gonna fix that. So I quickly read a whole bunch of books and now I'm back on track. So I've read 28 out of 100 books for my goal this year, which I think is about a quarter of the way. So I feel good about my reading schedule. I will say I'm listening to a lot of books lately, and sometimes I feel like it pulls me out of what's going on in our house a little bit because, but I don't know, my kids all have their headphones on all the time too, so I don't feel that bad. My husband's the only one that gets a little upset about it. So the first book that I finished was Stitches and Witches by Nancy Warren. This is a Vampire Knitting Club book. Honestly, I don't remember a whole lot about it, except that I liked it just as much as the first one. And then I read 8 books that were basically the same. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen I did a deep Rebecca Yarros dive, and I don't really know why, except that it all just sort of, 2 things happened at once. One, I kind of got fascinated in how the author of The Fourth Wing started off as this like romance, alpha male romance writer. And so I was really interested in kind of that evolution. And then her romances all have a very, very, very similar structure and vibe. Okay, sorry if you hear my dog barking again. But sometimes watching the same movie or show over and over again can be comforting, especially if you have anxiety. I kind of feel like I got pulled into that with the Rebecca Yarros books here. So I'm just gonna go through them. They're all very similar. There's a little bit of spice. Okay, my dog has been grounded from the front door. So it's usually the same basic structure of a military pilot or firefighter man and, you know, his tiny girlfriend, love, and there's a similar arc to all the books, and it became very comforting for me. So I read, and they're all 3 stars except for one was 2 stars, and I'll tell you which one that was. So I read Eyes Turn Skyward, Flight and Glory #2. I barely remembered the first one, but I gave that 3 stars, it was fine. Beyond What Is Given, Flight and Glory #3, Hallowed Ground, Flight and Glory #4. Then I went to Great and Precious Things, which is a standalone, and I gave that 3 stars. Reason to Believe, Legacy #1, 3 stars. That was a firefighter. I actually kind of liked that one. Point of Origin, which was Legacy 0.5, 2 stars. I was like, girl, let's not pull a Sarah J. Maas and just do all the spice all the time in a novella. That one was just too spicy for no reason for me. And then A Little Too Close, Madigan Mountain #2. Apparently I missed #1. That was 3 stars. And then The Reality of Everything, which was the last Flight and Glory book, and that was 3 stars. They were all fine. They were all very similar. So I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I'm taking a break from Rebecca Yarros for a while. I know this summer I do want to read The Fourth Wing again, because now after reading this, I want to read The Fourth Wing and see if I can feel similarities, because I feel like The Fourth Wing is a lot better than these books. So, and they're not bad, it's just, they're straight up alpha male romances. So it's really just interesting to me. So right now I am reading, oh, it's under here, I hope I don't, sorry about that. I'm reading The Women by Kristen Hanna. I really am enjoying this. I will say, I've read quite a few Kristen Hanna books, and this one feels just above an outline. I feel like she's leaving out a lot of details, and a lot of her books I feel very, very almost like it's too much meat and potatoes, and this one I feel is very scarce on details, but it's super interesting and definitely well researched, and I'm really enjoying it. I am also still reading I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Mackay. It will get finished. I'm so close, but then I just got sidetracked by the women. I'm much more invested in that book than I am with I Have Some Questions for You. And then I'm about to start Crochet in Cauldrons by Nancy Warren. And I am currently listening to RuPaul's memoir, and I don't remember the title of it, but it started out where I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. And now I'm totally into it and really enjoying it. But yeah, I'm trying to shift gears out of romance for a little while because yeah, that was a bit of I was like a freight train, just consuming the Rebecca Yarrow. So I'm ready for a break from that. But I think that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm always glad to see you. And let me know if you're reading anything good, especially if it's not romance right now. And I hope to be back here in a few weeks. And again, if you're one of my winners, please reach out to me, Instagram Ravelry, or email me at novelknitgirl@gmail.com. And until next time, thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you soon. Happy knitting.